So in the last video, I was talking about using more range of motion as a way to technically progress your exercise. Now, a lot of times when I say use as much range of motion, I mean literally just push yourself for that last inch. But a lot of times people bring up these ideas of, well, joint issues. Like, isn't it bad to squat below a certain level, or you're bending the elbows more, or all these sorts of things? And the fact of the matter is, yes, it can be bad, but not necessarily for reasons we're sometimes thinking about. This is what I'm talking about. This graph right here represents a complete range of motion. Okay, so this is like a start, and this is a finish. This is as much motion as you could possibly handle. So think of squats. This is where your legs are straight, and this is where your knees are completely bent and your butt doesn't get any closer to the ground no matter what you try and do. Okay? Now, a lot of times what ends up happening is we trick ourselves into thinking that a shorter range of motion is a good thing. So we start like almost locked out with the knees, and then we come down to like, you know, knees are 90-degree bend. That's the thing, is whenever we use a range of motion and we're like, oh, it's about 3 inches from the floor, it's a 90-degree bend at the knees, there's no concrete way we can measure this sort of thing. You know, we could be coming here, and then it's here, and then here, and here, and here, and here. And this is how people often end up with squats that are like 6 inches in depth. When you use something that's a full range of motion, you're like, I go until the floor stops me. That gives you a solid feedback, so you know you're not shirking your range of motion. But anyway, I digress. So let's say you've got this idea of you only work within a certain range of motion. The thing with joints, stability, integrity, is that we often hear this idea of like isometric exercises are not very effective because it only builds strength within that position. Well, the same thing happens with the safety and stability of your joints. When you squat within a given range of motion, you're building strength, stability, and control only within that range of motion, which means this is now a danger zone for you. If you tell your body this is where you're strong, this is where you have stability and you have control, if all of a sudden you were going out skiing or something, you go off a jump, boom, you land real hard, and your legs are asked to apply a lot of force in a range of motion they're not used to, that's where the injuries start to come about. And that's when people start coming up with these ideas of, oh, I bent my knees too much and I hurt my knee or something like that, and it reinforces this myth that a shorter range of motion is safer. But it's that short range of motion in the first place that caused the problem. And I did this all the time. I used to use a shorter range of motion, and that gave me the ability to lift more weight and do more repetitions, and I thought I was being safer, and then I hurt my knees and my hips and my shoulders and all of these sorts of things. Because what ends up happening is you have this line. So I'm squatting down, got lots of weight on my back or whatever, and I start to think, okay, I'm good up to this line, but how do you know exactly where that line is? 90-degree net, what are you getting down with a little protractor on your knees? No. So every once in a while, I'd start doing some squats, and I would just come a little bit into that danger zone, and all of a sudden, I'm asking my joints to handle weight in a range of motion they can't handle very well. That's where the injuries happen. So that's why I say use every inch of the range of motion. Let your ego go aside. If you have to lift less weight or do less repetitions, so be it. Trust me, it's a heck of a lot safer. Get rid of this danger zone and go with a complete range of motion all the way up. So your joints, your shoulders, your knees, everything can handle whatever you throw at them. Thoughts down below. Till then, be fit, live free.